Cheyenne is going to show us A. You guys are going to be so like, oh yeah, duh. A's a duh one.
Oh.
It is.
It does say normal distribution.
Tyler's here, Bianca, Shelly, Lori, Eric, Calvin, Hannah, Cheyenne, and Sam, Amelia, Hayden, Haley.
In this class?
No, Noah. Hannah, Julia, Michelle, Hannah, Zach. Okay.
Oh.
Excuse me. Oops, I forgot to mark those two ups. No Carter.
Wait. Oh.
Not the spread.
Did you say your mom? Why? There we go. No, I had to click 5 times on a kid to get it to say absent.
Oh,
Like it just wouldn't
Maybe he
click.
wanted to be present.
Maybe.
Maybe it was a sign.
Yeah, it's the sign he's here.
Hold on. Shape, normal. Because it tells us that both shapes, the heights of young men are normal and the heights of young women are normal. So that means our difference is normal. Then to find the average, the center for the new distribution, it tells us to do men minus women. So she took the men average minus the women's average and got 4.8. And then we've been doing standard deviations. You square them, add them together, and then square root it. So she took the standard deviation of the men's heights, added it to the standard deviation, the men's heights squared, and added it to the standard deviation of the women's heights squared, square rooted it, and got 3.75. Haley's going to do the next part for us.
Off-white Jordans?
When are you gonna take this blood type?
I was like, damn.
I like washed them one time, and the paint said it's faded.
No!
They last a while. I got one.
No, I want to be taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Excuse me.
Actually, that's really common that you, like, people wear wraps.
Yeah.
Unless they, like, really look.
Well, it's just the shoe. Like, the shoe, no one's gonna wear the real $1 shoe. It's like a $2,000 shoe.
Yeah. Unless you're, like, super rich. Who would want to spend resale? Actually. Yeah.
Did you say 300 on shoes? And then you walk in them? And then you walk in them and get them dirty?
Yep. We don't get them dirty. We take good care of them.
Is that your shoes?
These are like 90.
You get those retail, Zach?
These ones, I can like get them dirty. Very nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
Eat them.
Alright, so she used the new center and the new standard deviation that Cheyenne showed us to draw her normal curve. We were looking at the probability that the young man is at least 2 inches taller. Does that say 2276 or 7776?
2276.
Okay. So your picture is correct, but what you put here doesn't match your picture. So your lower bound would be 2,
Oh yeah, I just realized, yeah.
And then the upper bound would be a big number. And then it should be 0.7724. Is that what you get when you subtract from 100? 7724. I just subtracted what she had up there from 1. Questions? Well, today that's very similar to what we're going to be doing.
Okay.
We're going to look at confidence intervals again, but this time we're going to look at the difference between two means. So on Monday we did confidence intervals for Tuesday. Confidence intervals for the difference between two proportions. Now we're going to do two means. So first thing, we're going to, just like I did with proportions, we're going to draw a picture of the sampling distribution. I'll tell you what the statistic, parameter, mean, standard deviation, all that jazz is. So our statistic when we're working with means is that x bar or mu? It's x bar. So since we're looking at the difference of two means, we'd have x bar 1 minus x bar 2. What's the parameter? We use mu, so it'd be mu 1 minus mu 2. What's going to be at the center? The statistic or the parameter? Parameter. So we're going to have our normal curve. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Like bent. It was weird. I don't know. Alright, so it's normal. Let's see, where am I going to be able to fit this in? Over here. Mean is mu 1 minus mu 2. And then, oops, zoom out a little. Standard deviation. So we're going to take the standard deviation from each distribution, square them, add them together, square root. Yeah. Yep. Anybody remember the formula for standard deviation? For means. You think so?
Actually, no. Isn't it like SS? And then square root of
Over the square root of n. Standard deviation, I wrote the wrong thing, sorry. Standard deviation of means is s sub x divided by the square root of n. Now, just like Cheyenne reminded us, when we want to look at the difference, we square the standard deviations, add them together, then square root it. So what's going to happen when I square this? The square root on the bottom goes away, and the top is squared, because the square goes to both the top and the bottom. So we end up with our s sub x on top being squared, and then the square root on the bottom goes away. So the standard deviation for the difference is going to be the square root of the standard deviation from the first sample. So I'm not going to use x, I'm going to use 1, so we know it goes with x bar 1, squared divided by n sub 1, plus standard deviation from the second distribution, squared divided by n sub 2. So then I'm going to add this over here. Try to make it fit. Sub 1 squared over n1 plus sub 2 squared over n2. Alright. You guys ready?
Wait, why are you squared again?
Because you can't add standard deviations, you can only add variances, and variance is your standard deviation squared. Can I move it up? Alright. So our example says, Miss, I'm not going to be able to pronounce any of the special car names, so sorry. Mr. Wilcox recently purchased some new Hancock Ventus R compound racing tires. He believes that they will improve his track times. Mr. Wilcox knows that his old tires gave him an average lap time of 96 seconds for an SRS of 38 laps, with standard deviation 3.5 seconds. When he goes out to the track again with the new tires, he gets an average lap time of 94 seconds with an SRS 40 laps, with a standard deviation of 2.5 seconds. Construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval for the difference of the means. Construct and interpret, state plan do conclude. Oh, come on. You guys get so grumpy about those steps. It's just like, remember in elementary school when you had to do those work samples and they had, what was their abbreviation, like QWERTY or something, question. Well, yeah, this is college. I mean, it is a college class, except for Maddie, who decided not to get the college credit. Oh, you're killing me, Maddie. When you email me because you're at U of O and they say, Maddie, we need you to take a math class. Statistics would be great for your major, and you're redoing all this stuff, you will email me and be like, I was wrong.
I will never admit I'm wrong.
Say that again, Molly.
Just that the whole email will just be I was wrong.
No,
Yeah.
I will not admit you are wrong.
You'll be like, oh, I'm redoing statistics. Maybe
No,
not say I was wrong.
No way. I'm like,
You
oh,
will.
no.
Yeah.
I never had to retake statistics.
All right. So state starts with what we want to estimate. So we want to estimate the true. I'm going to abbreviate estimate. The true difference, true average distance. No, just true difference of average lap times. Sorry. True difference of average lap times.
What if you're just betting on the AP exam? You need a math credit.
Hey. Maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm not reading that though.
Are you signed up, Maddie?
I don't know. Wait, what?
Are you gonna take it?
How do you should?
There's no harm in trying it, Maddie.
That's not true.
It's,
What harm is there?
My mental health.
oh. You're in this
I
class.
feel like 83 hours.
Wow. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it.
The more progressive one was like,
Are you that guy?
No.
no, when we were done the regression lines, I was like, no, I'm not making it.
Anyways.
So then the other part
Sign up.
is,
Yes, the deadline was a long time.
I don't know.
You can take my spot.
I think sometimes you can, you might have to pay a late fee. Where before it was free because they are pushing all kids to take AP exams. But they might still let you sign up. You just might have to pay a late registration fee.
I like that.
Do you know Miss Shea? She's one of the new English teachers in Stevenson's, Miss Stevenson's old room. She's our AP coordinator. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. She went to an elementary school to be a
Bro, that seems
No,
like
it's not a mental health counselor. It's something with emotional.
Yeah, she told me
Yeah.
she was doing like she was working with elementary school kids as kind of like a guidance counselor, like emotional
Yeah.
support,
That's cool.
guiding them like through their
Yeah,
mental
something
health.
like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
She.
That's a C and a half right there.
Which test was that, Sam?
6,
I mean, we help.
6, 7.
I don't trust you behind me.
Whoa, I don't even have my phone on me. This time I don't.
This time.
All right. Yeah.
Last time I wasn't even
Yesterday.
taking pictures. I was trying to What are you taking pictures of? I don't have the text.
No. You were taking pictures of somebody else's test. All right. We have to define our parameters. So, he believes that the new tires are going to improve his track times. So, it really doesn't matter whether we do old tires minus new tires or new tires minus old tires. I personally like dealing with positive numbers. So would that mean that if the new tires are faster, we want to do old minus new or new minus old?
The one that's
Old
positive.
minus new.
Yeah. The positive one.
You guys are thinking about like improving usually for the most part means you get a higher score, but we're talking about speed here. So if let's just go with his averages. His old tires had a 96-second average. The new ones have 94.
I have to open the gate for him.
Okay. We would get 2, which is positive. So I'm going to go with old minus new. So that means mu1 is going to be defined as the true average lap time for the old tires. And I'm just going to put old. I'm not going to put tires. You guys know what I mean? Did you call me old?
Wow, Maddie. Wow. I can't believe you would say that.
Mu2. True average lap time for new tires.
Can I just write new?
Sure.
The amount of people that call me for old in seventh period.
I know.
What?
Seventh period just like,
I was in there.
literally. It's
Oh my
like
God.
dead silent and this kid raises his hand. I'm like, yes, Cole. He's like, was your birth certificate etched in stone? I'm like, where did that come from? Like, we're not even talking. Like, suddenly out of nowhere.
He had been working on that drill all classes.
He had
He
been.
was formulating, and he just
he was.
saw an opportunity.
Oh no.
But like, it just didn't. I did. I was more surprised because it came out of literally nowhere. Just was like, what are you talking about? Gosh. We could keep going with math. Then the other thing, we just want to put that mu1 minus mu2 is going to give us a positive, which we talked about because we want the faster time. And technically, I guess you don't really need that, but when you get your confidence interval and it's either positives or negative, it's kind of nice to have already thought through what it means. So this means new is faster. Any questions before we plan? My pen won't shut all the way. All right, what are our conditions?
Random, independent, normal.
Random, normal, independent. So random, that part just tells us he has an SRS of 38, SRS of 40. Normal. Now we're working with means, so it's different. Anybody remember? There's two ways we can have normal. Hannah? N is greater than 30. And what's the other one? It just tells us it's normal.
But it's never that easy.
No, sometimes it is. In the warm-up, it said it was normal.
The test, you can never be nice.
So, I'm always nice on the test. All right, so this one goes with Hannah's. So both our sample sizes are greater than 30. So we have 38 and 40. So n sub 1 greater than or equal to 30 because 38 is greater than or equal to 30. And n sub 2 greater than or equal to 30 because 40 is greater than 30. Eric, I think you might be in Jillian and Michelle's way.
Oh, that's really awkward.
Thank you. No, I'm good. Thank you. Oh, you got me a sticker? Thanks.
And then
You said mine. Thank you. Who said April Fools?
Well, I think Eric.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
well,
Independent. Now, this one is also different.
Aw.
Well, I personally think it's a little easier. We check that, before we would check that the sample size is 1/10 of the population, which, I mean, I'm assuming this guy's driven a lot of laps if he's buying new tires and he has a huge amount to take an SRS of 40 laps and 38 laps from. But is having new tires and having old tires really have any effect on the other one? Like the old tires times have any effect on the new tire times, and the new tire times have any effect on the old tire times? No. So for independent, we're just going to say something like old tires have no effect on new tires. And it's a good thing that Nate's not here today because I don't know which effect it is. And he would correct me if I used the wrong one. I think it's A, but I have no clue.
oh, you get that for birthday.
Not me.
All right. Oh, I almost forgot our new calculator function. What is it?
Actually, no.
So we're looking at, what, is it Z or T? It's T, and it's an interval to sample. It's not a proportion. Prop means proportion. So this is a to sample T int.
I knew that.
Yeah, that's what, they don't put interval. It's int means interval, but in the calculator it says to. They might actually put the word sample. I can't remember. To samp T int.
It's gonna be 0.
It is 0. Good job, Maddie.
2 sample.
All right, do. So we have to state the general formula for confidence interval. What is it? Estimate plus or minus margin of error. Thank you, Cheyenne. Which our estimate is our statistic. What's our statistic? That's the parameter. It's up here. Just wrote it. X bar 1 minus X bar 2. The margin of error comes from T star, so we're working with means, And we're going to multiply by our standard deviation formula, which is the standard deviation of the first one squared divided by the sample size of the first one plus standard deviation. Same thing we wrote above. I'm just writing small to leave room for my conclude. So what is x bar 1 minus x bar 2? Old minus new? Just 2, right? And then our standard deviation, I'm going to cheat and put, it's not really cheating, it's just less to write. Who gasped at me saying I was cheating? So I'm using sigma and saying standard deviation of x bar 1 minus x bar 2, and then I'm going to use this formula and put it there. I just didn't want to rewrite the formula because I'm lazy. Alright, so standard deviation from the old tires was 3.5. Standard deviation from the new, 2.5. So 3.5 squared, and then I'm going to divide by the sample size for the old tires, which is 38. Why is it so bright? There we go. And I'm going to leave that be for a minute, and then I'm going to square the standard deviation from the new tires divided by their sample size, and then I'm going to add them together. 2.5 squared divided by 40, and then I'm going to take that and add it to that one, and then I'm going to square root that. So we get 0.69. Yep, we'll just go 2 decimals, 0.69. Now the other thing with means and confidence intervals and significance tests is we have degrees of freedom. Now, before, when we were looking at one sample, we just took the sample size minus 1. Nice and simple. It gets really complicated when you look at 2 samples together. So the nice thing is when we put everything into our 2 sample t interval, it tells us the degrees of freedom, and we're just going to write it down. We're not going to do the formula. It's not a pretty one. Alright, so now we're going to do the confidence interval on the calculator. Anybody need a calculator before I get going? Alright, so we go into stat, go over 2 tests, and then like Maddie said, scroll down, it's 0, 2 samp t int. We have data, no, we have statistics, excuse me. Our next example is data, where you put it in a list. So we have statistics, so make sure that's highlighted. The average from my first sample was 96, the old tires. The standard deviation, bless you, was 3.5. Sample size was 38. Average from the new tires, 94. Standard deviation at 2.5. Sample size of 40. We're doing a 95% confidence interval, so 0.95. Then there's that question about whether it's pooled or not. We don't pool our data, so you're always going to leave it at no. It should default to no. If you end up taking a higher level of statistics, you will get to where you pool data, but for this class we don't. It means that putting them in a pool, like you're combining them, and then you're looking at all. It gets more into when you look at calculus-based statistics. Why did you guys all groan? Math is wonderful. I enjoyed my calculus-based statistics class in college. I took 3 of them.
Yeah, but you're also a math teacher. That makes sense why you like math.
Algebra too. Man, some English teachers hate English.
All right, so notice at the very top, confidence interval, next thing down below it, degrees of freedom. You truncate the decimal, so we're just going to put degrees of freedom 66. So we have our interval and we have our degrees of freedom. And degrees of freedom is just going to be something like these two where it's just kind of a checklist, something you need to write down. The interval is 0.619 to 3.381. Any questions before we conclude? Anybody remember how we start the conclude? Was that you, Cheyenne? Thank you. We are 95% confident. What is it, Maddie?
The interval, state the interval captures blank.
And what is blank?
Captures the true mean difference of the types.
Thank you. Confident that the interval my A kind of turned hideous, sorry. Did you look at it, Hannah? I don't know what happened. I don't know. All right, 0.619 to 3.381 captures the true difference of average lap times of average lap times for new and old tires. And then just like, oops, sorry, didn't mean to move it. Just like when we did the confidence intervals for the difference proportions, we need to have one extra sentence that implies what this interval is telling us. So does that tell us that the new tires are faster, or does it tell us the new tires are slower? Why?
Because it's positive.
Because it's positive. Our whole interval is in the positives. And remember, if we end up with positive, that's telling us our new tires are faster. So this suggests, and again, I'm sure you guys can word this better than me, this suggests the new tires are faster. The lap times with new tires. Am I off the board?
Not yet.
Okay, good. And then my nice little handwritten question that I added right before I made copies. Is this statistically significant evidence that the new tires have faster lap times? Yes. Why? What? Why?
Newer is better.
Because newer is better. Except for with wine. I don't like wine. I've never found a wine I like, but they say it gets better with age. So here we knew the lap times, because this was all positive, we knew the new tires were faster. We can say it's statistically significant because we don't have 0 in our confidence interval.
Yes.
0 would mean that there's a possibility that the new tires and the old tires have the same lap times. But since we don't have 0 in our confidence interval, we would be able to say that it is statistically significant. All right. Any questions before I flip? All right. This time, we're looking at smart pills and placebos. Yeah, if only there were smart pills, right?
I take them before every exam.
Yeah. Suppose that there is a new smart pill on the market that claims that it will improve ACT scores if taken the day before the test. To test the validity of this claim, we set up a randomized comparative experiment. 18 students volunteer for the experiment. 10 students chosen at random are given the smart pill the day before the test, and 8 students chosen at random are given a placebo the day before the test. We then record their scores. We're going to assume the distribution of ACT scores is normal. So you can see here's our 10 smart pill kids, here's our 8 placebo kids. Is this a matched pairs design or a two sample problem? What does matched pairs mean? Oh gosh. It wasn't that long ago that we learned about samples and surveys and all that jazz. Michelle?
Isn't match pairs
Good. I want to come hug you for remembering that. Thank you, Michelle. Guys, the rest of you remember things like Michelle. Matched pairs is where it would be the exact same individual that took the smart pill and took the placebo, so we could compare their scores. So this is a two sample problem. So just as a reminder, because it seems like you all need it except for Michelle on this one, matched pairs means the same subject receives both treatments. Bless you. So the answer that goes on the line is the two sample, because this is two different samples. We had 10 separate kids take the smart pill and 8 separate kids take the placebo. So, would it make sense to use the differences like we did last chapter? I can't remember what my example was. I think it was my husband giving a smart pill, but he gave it to the same 10 kids, so we compared their difference in scores. Would it make sense to compare differences here?
No.
Why not? Because they're different people. So just to make a more concrete example, kid who got 23 with the smart pill, not the same kid who got a 21 with the placebo. So then down below, I just reprinted the data. We're going to construct and interpret a 90% confidence interval. Now, Maddie and Anna both gave me looks like, you guys are going to do this on your own. It's the same thing, except for instead of entering the statistics in the two sample T interval, you're going to choose data because you're going to put the smart pill data in list 1 and the placebo data in list 2.
I've had like 4 dreams this class.
I don't know how you can fall asleep like that.
Dude, I thought we were still on this problem.
Yes.
Sam, how's the unit 7 test going?
Bro, I don't know. It's probably an A+. No, I think it's strong C, maybe a little D.
No, we are. We're comparing. We just are, if we subtracted and did the difference, we would have 1 list, so 1 sample. That's what we did last month. Does that make sense? So you still are doing the difference, just from the 2 samples, not doing the difference to create 1 sample.
Recording?
I'm always recording.
Let's go turn that one in.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
We'll put it here.
Take my test.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a B+ right there.
And my huge stack of papers, great. I
You want me to get in for you?
I love that.
Yo, I'll be an aide for you.
Love the end of the quarter.
Oh, I got you.
My,
Just give me the keys to the answer of the test.
teaches 3rd grade. She texted me 2 days ago. She was like, today was a rough day. Because she has behavior kids. It's just, you know how some kids can be in elementary school. Behavior issues. Really?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Me too.
I would not expect that.
Because I was the ADHD like to the max.
I can kind of.
You got Adderall?
No, that was an option though.
What?
You do not take Adderall.
That's
Why?
what? She said she can see me being evil kid. I can see that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? You don't expect him as your been the evil kid. You don't. Sorry. Next time I'll lie, Maddie.
Oh.
Anyways, she said that yesterday was better. She texted me. She was like, today was much better. I'm like, really? Mine was worse. She's like, how can it, teaching high school, how can it have that day? I was like, oh, don't even open that can of worms. And then I told her it's the end of the quarter. Not so much you guys, but my algebra 2 kid.
Is that your 5th block?
Every assignment from the entire quarter.
No.
Sure, good luck.
I'm not gonna know what I think of it.
Put the videos on campus.
Wait, it seems like I would be a mean elementary kid.
I didn't say mean, I said evil.
Oh. There's a difference. I did get a referral. For I got 2 referrals. I got a referral because someone said I tried to cheat.
Oh.
I did.
Yeah.
Maddie, I don't want to ruin you anymore. Did you ever get a speeding? I got 1 out of 6.
Yes, see, and that is believable. She has never been in trouble.
I got a speeding ticket. I got 1 speeding ticket for running on the gray. No,
Oh, I thought you meant like an actual speeding ticket.
What did you say?
You weren't supposed to run on the gray, so I was trying to race my friends in the front of the line and we all got speeding.
What's the grade?
Like the gray pavement. Do you remember that?
The sidewalk?
And then on the
Yeah, like when you were younger, we were.
Oh,
When you ran on the blacktop in elementary school, you would get in trouble.
It was
You would,
opposite for
fall.
us.
I thought you meant cars.
Me
Mine
too.
too.
Yeah, it was. And then I only got sent to the principal's office once, but it was for something.
I got kicked out of schools. I don't think you guys have problems. Just saying.
I took out of the bathroom in first grade for a referral.
Why did you get a referral?
Because I took the bathroom.
I actually didn't show you first. They just hated me, so they said it.
There's one for this.
You gotta do that stuff now.
They
They probably say you locked the bathrooms.
Dude, that was the very last sentence.
It's normal.
Oh, okay. Says assume normal.
So, we don't have to write that?
Just quote normal.
I got in trouble for writing a penis on my friend's folder.
Yeah.
In second grade.
Freshman year, I never.
That makes sense.
Because I wrote I'm white on my first figure, and then it went to the trying to write this, and then the kid got in trouble.
Why did you?
Yeah, and I got a referral for it.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, what? So, don't even the chest anything.
white on white.
I told my mom, she's like, that's good.
I feel like they should be explaining weird things in that.
I know. And then the principal came and was like, if you really keep your job,
Yeah,
I'm
like,
like,
it doesn't
I was like,
really tell you.
Damn!
okay.
It tells you
I was like,
that
yeah. I was laughing. I was like, this is
zero.
Okay, but like
not
what?
strong evidence that
What?
it's
For in her job, she was listening to the referral. He's like, you have to make your referral photo of the right there.
Every time we had to write an essay on discipline, I took it the wrong way and I was taking it out of context.
Do we always use 30?
What'd you say, Mom?
Yeah, you don't have to do that because it says normal.
You talked about
Did you say
parents.
spanking was okay?
It was worse than that. What'd you say?
Sometimes
What'd
I
you
wish.
say? Bernie?
Did you say this? Yeah, so I said
Yeah.
something. You're bad, you're gonna get burned in the corner.
Wait, what?
Picture people.
So then they had to check and make sure your hands.
Is it?
Yeah. And the principal
They
was
don't
like,
affect each
"My
other,
parents
so it's just
too."
they
He's
don't
like,
affect each other.
"Are you okay? Like, do you know anything? You get burned?" I was like, no.
Damn.
That's not good. They're always like, we're nice.
Molly County.
Bare minimum.
Ugh.
How old were you when you did this?
I was in second grade.
Some of them were really worried.
Maddie, come on.
So I drew
Yeah, Maddie.
I know. You're supposed to know.
I drew like stick figures.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I hate that one.
I do too.
This
but
smart
I
pill
kind of
really
love it at the
works.
same time.
Which one did you make smart pill? M1. Smart pill really works. If M1 is some sugar.
Thanks, Sandy. Thank you so much.
You were fine, Zach. I was talking to the left hand paper.
Because the answer that was supposed to make it. I didn't
No, it's right. It just, I'm salad.
Some people need to say.
I mean, actually,
Oh, that?
You make a conclusion
Yeah.
about it.
I'm really shy.
I did this wrong.
I mean, I kind of was wrong. But the girl also said I had a more.
Is that it? Okay, first
And
of all,
she said she wanted
is
to
that
write
right?
down my face.
Okay, so what do I say? Oh my
She hated me
god.
that much because I moved like
Did it?
Or did it? Well, because here it's negative.
I had a picture of her friend in
L.
It's for her. I was
Just
like,
because you're better doesn't mean she has to hate you.
and now I'm like that. Like, someone's
I put, because it includes zero, there's no strong evidence that the smart pill really works.
Oh, okay, that's a lot better than okay. Thank you.
You were very mean. It's scary how mean. Like, we're all not sticking together.
Will you plan? Please, thank you.
Boys
drawing me a picture? Please conclude. Jillian is planning. I need to find a state and a do. State and a do.
I wrote down this because that's the only way to do it first.
Right.
I feel like my space is hard.
State.
I need to rewrite it. True difference of average. Of scores. No.
Of scores using those ones.
Okay.
Good job, Molly. Thanks.
No, I was reading your state. Sorry. I'm gonna have your state. I need to find a guy to go.
Something June. June 4th.
June 4th.
And at 9 a.m.
Graduation.
9 a.m.
Graduation.
Because we're splitting this out. And
What?
What?
And central.
We were evening.
Can we get middle? Like, why can't we get the middle?
It's gonna be a lot more.
It's until 11 here.
When do we get to decide, or when do we get to choose, like, which teacher will start our graduation?
They usually they have a senior meeting to tell you the whole process.
That
of the
was
Google form,
4 or 5
a timestamp, and
Um,
you get an email, and then you get to sign.
How many
And
tickets
this
do you get?
he gave like 2.5 hours.
They use the timestamp on the Google form.
And basically, the whole thing is like,
They'll tell you
he's like,
to send
I
this
would
Yeah, I think that's for that.
That's
this
not
date,
good.
this time. So
you guys can find it.
Yeah, I know, but that's the max, because in the survey, you put how many tickets, you
Yeah, it was
the max,
though.
one
It was
person
like,
must
no,
sit.
I knew it's like,
But I'm only gonna get two.
Because I don't know who to invite.
I don't know, that's funny though.
Because, like, I know, like, I was supposed to ask me some, like,
I met him, he was really
Like,
rude.
I was like, my sister invited me, but I was like, I wouldn't invite those two.
So I'm like thinking that
I mean,
that was it.
why does not members are writing this stuff? So we change that, and then it would close.
Real Housewives.
Like,
Who are you saying? And she was our graduation.
All right, Molly's gonna get us started with this state.
Yes. Go, Molly. I just did my passport. I don't know if I did myself. Bless you. Okay, good.
I got 1.7, but that's probably because I did on my standard deviations up here.
I don't speak in that class.
Oh, no. I have a name, but I just got started some
Yeah, but your standard deviation.
Yeah.
Your 3.5
He's working as
We're not speaking in
Yeah, I did 3.5 squared divided by 10 plus 2.7 squared divided by 8. I know, but you have the whole period to
Yeah, but
digest the codes.
it's okay.
Read through them. Like,
Is
analyze
yours
them.
like really bad?
I think that's on the top.
But it's still more.
Well, also what's hilarious is that like a lot of my absences are using my mom's never.
We've never done the biggest.
But
Hold on. So, no,
And then, like I said, my sister, I just hate how she puts us
and it's like you're gonna go to court if you make a mistake. That's a lie.
literally, I wait. I already said I should have done. And she's looking at me and they don't.
Like they have to. I'm no, I'm literally serious. Like you have to miss an entire year for them to actually take it. Pretty much, yeah. Like my friend, I had a friend in elementary school who was like,
No, I can never get for people. And I didn't even know she called.
and so she was gone like almost a couple years. She was there,
And I go, did she call for anything? Yeah.
but like usually like once every 2 weeks, right? And she had to go to work. But like,
Because like,
I mean,
I see what she's saying, so I'm just
I'm
like,
sure
oh,
you've
it's
been
5
there
minutes
at
in,
least
and
once
it's
a
like,
before you
like,
go.
well, I guess I didn't never got that. I can't read
That's my answer. Right now,
Those are so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My timer is really bad.
I don't like it.
For me, it's like,
But
Thank you.
that's a good
Like there was like there was like
Miss Little,
Yeah.
for the end, I didn't know what to put. But I think this is wrong.
It was like our project.
Oh,
It's kind of hidden because it's in the original like paragraph.
thank you.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm.
Normal.
Let me grade all these tests for you. And the banana.
And the banana.
Banana.
Ugh.
All right, Jillian's gonna come plan.
I'm gonna try to write straight this time, Miss Woodall.
Banana.
Okay.
Banana.
I haven't heard that song in a while.
It's tired.
Zachary, you got it stuck in my head.
You've got to listen to it. Let's put it on right now. So
Okay.
this is our last problem.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Just to make sure, most of you caught that it was normal because up in the original paragraph I told you that ACT scores are normal. But in case you missed that, it is up there. All right, Anna's gonna come do the do. And I'm still waiting for Mountain Dew to call me, offer me a sponsorship. Do the do. I even use Mountain Dew in an example.
Why don't you send them a video of you when you're talking in class? Be like, oh yeah, sponsor me.
They could sponsor my YouTube channel.
You're more followers.
A TikTok
Damn.
video, they probably would send you some promotional merch or something. Because they're like obsessed. Any brand on TikTok is like obsessed with sending promotional merch to
True.
everyone who is like
Oh my-
supporting them.
We all want to do the Buffalo lecture.
Yes, I would love that.
I've never even tried Mountain Dew.
Then you can't be
I'll
swearing
bring one.
to do.
I'll bring one.
But I know their slogan is do the do.
But it doesn't sound so bad.
It's a good thing they put the in between, otherwise it'd be doo doo. Oh goodness. Go Anna. Go Anna.
What did we say that equal the standard deviation?
1.7.
Sorry. This is the only way I can write.
Sorry, I'll go faster. That looks right. I don't think I missed anything. Looks great. Oh my god, sorry. Alright, and Shelly's gonna conclude for us. Your arm? Maybe stop playing softball.
I tried to do that literally so many times. I tried to quit like 3 times.
What position? Are you a pitcher?
Oh my god, no. I'm second baseman.
Oh.
It's literally like the easiest position. I just hate softball. I like family more than you. My sister was stupid and she was still really good at softball.
We're gonna be one of
Our team like won state like 2 years
From my phone.
My family just like to like softball and it's just like
Like,
Oh, maybe I've gotten, I don't know, because they send those in the
so
mail.
long ago. Like a year ago.
So maybe I've gotten, I don't know.
A hippo.
Listen back.
Is that a shirt? I want that shirt.
That's cool.
Sorry, I just said that loud.
I was like, where are you? There were 6 of us. Yeah, they really were like, this is a really good idea.
I have no business.
Thank you, ma'am.
shopping because I don't have any.
Alright, biggest thing on the conclusion, the extra little sentence. Our interval has both negatives and positives. So that tells us that there really isn't much evidence that the smart pill will improve ACT scores. If it was all positive, we'd say the smart pill works. If it was all negative, we'd say that it didn't work. But since we have both negative and positive, we can't really state much because we don't have a whole lot of evidence. Any questions? All right. I hope you guys have a good weekend.
Thank you.